how does a circular economy relate to net zero? Is one a subcomponent of the other, or are they two frameworks that are intermeshed?
I think net zero is predicated on a circular economy, at least in part. But I also think that a circular economy, it does function as its kind of own outcome and its own desired achievement, because it does more than just the climate side of things. It also responds to the human impact of an economy that is focused on very high levels of wasteful consumption and wasteful creation as well. Is an economy that doesn't actually work for fairness, for equality within communities and within society. So you have that, everything that underpins everything that we do in Glasgow, that my administration does, what the council does, is ultimately about tackling inequality, and it's about improving lives and life chances and outcomes for the poorest people in society. And so we have to fundamentally change the way that we do economic development in the city. Now, it's not in our gift to change national or global economies, but we can make changes within the city. And I think, you can often, I think actually, if there's something that the pandemic taught us, is that cities in particular can deliver change, and often very fundamental change, actually much faster and much more effectively than we thought we could. It turns out actually you can pivot overnight, because we were forced to when we went into lockdown. You can pivot overnight to doing things differently if you have to. So that was a public health emergency. If we treat the climate emergency, we talk about climate emergency, don't always behave as if it's an emergency. But if we treat the climate as an emergency, if we treat poverty as an emergency, and in actual fact, we just had a debate about this in council yesterday, the cost of living crisis, which many societies across the globe are facing, but is particularly acute in the UK for a number of factors. Inflation rates in the UK right now are at their highest level in 40 years, and the impact that that's having on households is devastating. So, we have embedded long-term generational poverty in many parts of Glasgow. We haven't treated it as an emergency. We should have been for 40 years, but it is an emergency now. It's right in front of us. So we need to change. We need to behave the way that we did in the pandemic and pivot overnight. And I think thinking about a circular economy, thinking about circular practices, is a huge tool for us in underpinning. So we need to act on two fronts. We need to act to the immediate emergency in front of us, but we can't take our eye off the ball on the longer term shift. Otherwise, we'll just have more emergencies.